Happy Spiritual Sunday. Here we are again from Boca. So while people are populating, we're going to read, of course, from Karen's book, Simple Light. So the one that I came to today was this. Karen writes like this: energy is circular. When we succumb to giving the evil eye, we incite the evil eye in the other person as well as in ourselves. When we give out anger, we get back anger. We receive the same energy that we share with the world. The only question that will be asked of us at the end of the road is not whether we battled and won, but how we battled. The only thing that will matter will be how much love we have given to others, for we won't be judged by what we have, but by how much we have shared. So on that note, let's get started with what's going on currently. We just entered, a few days ago, we entered the month of Virgo. So for those of you who've been around for a while, it's a good reminder. For those of you that haven't, it's an important piece of wisdom. If you've learned with the Kabbalah Center, for any, even Kabbalah 1, you know that what we teach is universal wisdom. It's universal truth. And that it relates to what happens in the spiritual world that manifests in the physical world. So when we're looking at the physical world and trying to fix the physical world, you can't. You can't fix the physical world in the physical world. All you have to do to prove that to yourself is look back maybe 5,000 years of history and show me where anything we've done in and of the physical world has stopped chaos. I mean, go back to the simple story, Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve had two sons, Cain and Abel. Cain killed Abel. Started then. So from that point in human history, when has there been no death, no violence towards other people? But we tend to get rid of those violent people one way or another. Either they die, they get incarcerated in jail, maybe they die in jail, maybe they're killed in jail, maybe somebody executes them. You go on and on and on. But why is there still then violence and hatred and all the rest? Because we've come to learn that there's energy forces in the invisible world that determine what happens in the physical world relative to what we choose to do. And that's why we say, as we're going to affirm here in a moment, consciousness is everything. Consciousness is everything. So we want to start with that and realizing consciousness is not about the physical world. Consciousness is determined by what goes on here in my head. And most of us studied for a while, unless somebody online now is brand new. We have two broadcast stations that are streaming in our brain. One is the pure voice of our soul: love, kindness, goodness, compassion, generosity, tolerance, humility, etc. And the other is what we call the opponent, that is there to challenge us and therefore make it an effort for us to express greater love, kindness, and compassion, as we say here in our affirmation, but to exert our spiritual muscle. Because the only way a muscle grows is with exertion. You go to the gym, you have to lift more weight than you did before to grow the muscle. The muscle is already inherent in the body. Our job is to help manifest its full potential. And so too, the Creator gave each and every one of us the ultimate, if you will, spiritual muscle, a piece of itself. Our job in this world is to exert effort to apply that spiritual muscle, which means more joy, more kindness, more love, more generosity, more humility than we did yesterday. Because we want our blessings to grow. And as Karen just said to us, the greater amount of love and forgiveness and tolerance, apology, regret, to make up things, to make up for things, the greater appreciation, the greater gratitude, then the more can come back to us, and it makes us closer to achieving our full potential. And along the way, it gives us greater happiness, joy, peace, and all the blessings. So let's say our affirmation together. For those of you here, those of you online, here it is, and we'll say it together. Consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness towards all human beings. Okay? So now we've just improved the world, because even by just our consciousness of saying that, there's got to be 10, 100 maybe, out of 8.5 billion people, maybe 1,000 people are going to be a little kinder because we just sent them that light. We just raised our consciousness, and because we're one soul, raised the consciousness of everybody. So let's get into this morning's lesson. We entered the month of Virgo. Virgo, those of you who know a little of astrology, is the symbol of it is the Virgin. What does that mean? Purity. Purity, right? And so what does that mean for you and me is it's preparation for the birth of humanity. Now, as we talked about a moment ago, and as you've learned in the classes, inside this, metaphorically, this side of our head, I call it, is the stream of consciousness of the opponent, the one that tells us lies, shows us falsehoods, makes us believe our limitations, that we're not literally God incarnate in this world. The Bible from the beginning says every human being is the image and likeness of God, which means, according to the Kabbalists, that we have all the powers, yes, in a micro way, let's call it, versus the infinite creator's macro way, but we have all those powers to bless, to heal, to cure, to remove chaos and darkness, etc. We've been given that power. So the birth of humanity happened on the first day of Libra. The opponent in our head that's always there to create divisiveness, distraction, disbelief, discouragement, turned it into, corrupted the birth of humanity, if you will, the day that Adam and Eve came into this world, created or turned it into, corruptedly, what most people will call the Jewish New Year, Rosh Hashanah. But Rosh Hashanah simply means the head of the year, right? What's a new year? The head of the year, right? January 1st in the Gregorian calendar, you say, is the head of the year. We could say that. We call it the new year. So the first day of Libra, cosmic Libra, is the birth of humanity, because Adam and Eve are the parents, if you will, of all of us in the physical world. There's no human being on earth who didn't come from Adam and Eve Adam and Eve came from the endless world, from this one creator. So what's called Rosh Hashanah is not a religious, theological event. It is a cosmic event wherein, whether we realize it or not, like on a birthday, every human being, because it's the birth of humanity, is set on the symbol of Libra. I mean, go back to the simplicity. The symbol of Libra is what? Scales. The old scales balance. So if you think about it, yeah, I think it's still valid. Most of you, I guess, even the younger people might understand it. Maybe. Balancing your checkbook. What does it mean? Even they said, balance your checkbook. What does that mean? You balance the money you deposited less that which you withdrew. You're creating a balance, right? And at the end of that, if you put more in than you took out, your balance is in the positive. If a person took more out than they put in, then the balance is in the negative. So once you've balanced your checkbook, then you decide what you're going to do from that point forward, right? If there's extra money in it, you say, okay, good, I'll save it, I'll invest it, I'll go buy something, whatever it is. Or if there's got minus to it, they'll say, oh, I have to go put money in, I don't want to be, I don't know what they call overdraft or what have you. But once you've created the balance, that's not the end of the story. You decide from that point what you're going to do to continue, hopefully to keep adding to it more than you take away. So what the Kabbalists teach us on Rosh Hashanah, the first day of Libra, the birthday of humanity, every human being on a spiritual soul level is set in front of those scales, and their entire year is balanced. Did they do more proactive behaviors, adding light into the world, or more reactive behaviors, hiding or taking away the light. And whatever that balances out, that's the beginning of the year. Only in this case, it's not just about the money. It's every facet of their life. What is going to be the pattern of their year? So the Kabbalist gave us, and for those of you who want to investigate, if you haven't looked into it yet, you can go on Kabbalah.com, you can get the book Days of Power, and you can read about the Kabbalistic meaning of Rosh Hashanah, the new year, and what spiritual technology we've been given to, even on those days, the first 2 days of Libra, be able to turn our withdrawals into deposits. But more pertinent for right now, we're in the month of Virgo, which we said is the virgin, like clean, pure. We've been given, this is the cosmic setup, which we often talk about. The universe is balanced, is set that we have to win. It's set in our favor. The odds are in our favor. So here they give us the month of Virgo to cleanse whatever we can cleanse, to transform our darkness to light, our chaos to order, our reactive behaviors to proactive behaviors. We're given the ability to cleanse and purify ourselves in this month, so we take care of as much as possible of all of our spiritual debt before Rosh Hashanah. So on those 2 days, with all the technology that we're given Kabbalistically, we are able to transform and transmute the things that would be very difficult for us on our own to do, to really transmute, whether it's like deeply ingrained in us, or it's just so big that it'd be difficult for us by ourselves without the help of this cosmic technology on these 2 days called Rosh Hashanah. So we want to be able to cleanse and deal with our transmutation and our purifying ourselves in this month of Virgo. Now, with every month, those of you who've studied a little astrology, Virgo, because it's the ability to purify. So whether you're a Virgo or not, you live through the month, you will be influenced by the various cosmic energies. The cosmic energy is, how many of you ever cleaned your house? Okay, good. Okay, got to make sure. Otherwise, I'm not visiting. No, just kidding. You clean your house. When you're cleaning your house, what are you looking for? The clean areas or the dirt? You're looking for the dirt, right? You're looking for the dirt because you want to clean your house. What do you want to do ideally? You want to put it back to its perfect, clean state. It was perfectly clean. Whatever happened, you dirtied it up a little bit. You're looking for the dirt so you can remove the dirt and restore pure cleanliness. So now you just expand that out to our whole being and the whole world. What we want to do in Virgo is be able to look for all of our garbage, find our garbage, use the Kabbalistic technology to transmute it back, like clean it up, so we return to perfect cleanliness, to our perfection. So we and Virgos themselves are given the ability to see details. So if you know any Virgos, they're the ones that from across the room, they can tell the painting or whatever it is a little off, right? It's not quite level. Things aren't quite exactly where they're supposed to be. Like they have that ability to see details. You and I in this month will also have some of that energy added to us. But we know we've got the battle with that opponent in our head. So the opponent in our head taunts people to use their inherent God-given light abilities in a negative way. So again, if you know some Virgos who aren't so spiritual, they will tend to be the ones who can exactly pick out what's wrong with the other person. Well, you know Joe says this way, he speaks this way, I don't know, he slurs his S's or this and that, whatever. They can see all that's wrong. The irony is that because Virgo in general is the energy of purity, that pure cleanliness, A Virgo will strive for perfection. But unfortunately, like we said, giving into the reactive side, they'll look for all the bad stuff, and they'll look for the bad stuff even in themselves. So even though they're striving for perfection, like probably the rest of us, do we really believe that perfection exists? I mean, look in your life. Where have you ever seen in your life real perfection? Okay, you read stories, the perfect saints, the great righteous people. Okay, we want to say, but how many people do you know when you say, oh yeah, like Moses was perfect? And then what will they say, whether they're Virgo or not? Really? But the Bible says he got angry, right? The Bible said he didn't listen to God. Things like that. Sure, because you and I learn in the center that the Zohar says you cannot take the 5 books of Moses only on the literal level. It's there to give us a lesson for our time, for our life. So when it says Moses got angry or whatever, it doesn't mean like we would think in the physical world. He got angry, he was upset. No, what it's teaching us is a spiritual essence. If a person sees darkness and chaos, if you see a loved one, heaven forbid, or somebody you really care about heading down the wrong path, do you not feel a little pain for them? Yes. So when it's written biblically, in essence it will say, let's say, Moses got angry for the Israelites who were doing the wrong thing. But it wasn't anger like he screamed and yelled at them. It was like the if you will, the pain of seeing that they have the potential to be perfect. They have the capability to do things right. They have the capability to have all kinds of blessings in their life, and they're not doing it. That's the pain that the Bible might call anger. So you and I are learning that perfection does exist, but it's hard to believe. So like we said, even if you say, well, Moses was perfect, or some of the great sages were perfect, a lot of people say, well, that's the Bible. The Bible just wants to say, but look at the world today. Who do you see in the world today is perfect? So I want to go back to something that I do in Kabbalah 1. Hopefully, if you take it to heart, it will change your life. So for those of you here in the room, you can start reading. For those of you online, I'm setting it here. Yeah, go ahead.
It's all spelled wrong.
Try. Ah.
The only important thing is that the first
Yeah.
letter be the right place.
Ah.
This can be a total mess, and you can still read it without problem. This is because the human mind does not read every letter by itself, but the word as a whole.
So you look, first thing to see is, like you said in the beginning, it's not written properly, yet you could still read it.
Yes.
Okay, now, one level is what it literally says, and I hope those of you online had a chance. So one is it literally says, well, as long as the first and last letter are in the right place, then you could read it, right? Because the other letters don't matter so much. But you and I are not going to be happy with what we might just call the 1% answer. Okay, the first and last letter. I want us to go another level to the ultimate deepest level of understanding why is it that you and I here, and I hope many of you online, could read this. Give you one more shot at it online while those in the room are thinking about it. Why is it that we could read it? Don't just say the first and last letters. It's deeper, it's a more powerful proof of what we just said.
Maybe because we've been reading for so long.
Reading what?
Words.
Reading what words?
Any words.
No, any words?
Learning.
Any words?
Yeah, from the time we're little, we learn how to spell.
Spell what?
Words.
Which words? You know the saying, hidden in plain sight?
Yeah.
So in a simple way, spiritually, the answer is right in front of us. We're talking all around it, just missing the fundamental point. What language is that?
English.
Oh, English. So what about some of our friends online, let's say, that don't know English so well? Maybe their first language is French, right? Or whatever, and they don't read English so well. Could they do that?
I don't think so.
No. So the key is perfection already exists. If you didn't know the English language, even though the first and the last letters are in the right place, you couldn't read it. If I did this in French, any of you here could read it? No, but the first and last letter would be in the right place. You understand? The only reason we can read it is because we know what we might call perfect English. So then you can look at the chaotic way it's written, rearrange it in your mind to the proper way it's written, or just reading it, right? According to Cambridge University, etc., etc. Perfection already exists. And because we know perfection, we can take any word that's chaotic and turn it back into perfection.
But only in English.
Yes. But the example meaning, what about the world itself? If the world were not perfect, if there were no perfect creator that created perfect world, then of course we would never be able to make perfection in this world. But the fact there's one perfect creator that created this world and created perfection, we are able then to put things back into perfection. Instead, the opponent in our head wants us to look at the chaos, like you first said. But it's, oh, Chaim, it's wrong. Because at first glance you say, well, it's not spelled the way I know the word. And then you stop for a moment, and in your mind, after I nudged you a little bit, it's like, okay, let's take a breath and now read it. And then everybody read it properly. So the same thing now. If there was truly no inherent, fundamental, foundational, primordial perfection to this world, then why would people seek healing? If you think about it, what does healing mean? A person who seeks healing means they're already inferring there's a perfection. There's a perfect health. They're not at that moment in perfect health, but because, let's even call it unconsciously, they believe there's a perfection to health, then they're seeking health in whatever means. What about when we don't like chaos and we're looking for solutions to our chaos? What does that mean? We're inferring that there is an order, there is a solution, no? What about scientific research? Isn't that also seeking the perfection? How does the universe work? How is it put together? Which, by definition of science, within its something that it comes up with, let's call it discovers, has to be something that everybody who tries the same thing can repeat, which means it has to be perfect. It's not just something one person does in one moment and can never happen again. Well, for some people, how about seeking the right relationship? What does that mean? What's a person really seeking when they're looking for the right relationship? The perfect relationship. The one that makes them feel happy all the time, etc., etc. You follow? But if a person really believed there was no such thing as perfection, settle for whatever there is. Walk down the street, look at somebody and say, okay, you, come, let's be in a relationship. I mean, what would be the difference? You don't do that. You're seeking the perfect relationship. What about the right job? Why do people leave one job and seek another job? Well, that job wasn't perfect. Didn't give me everything I thought. Even in the simple physical 1%, didn't give me everything that I wanted. I have to go find another job because I believe there's another job out there that can make me happy. What about friends? Do you seek friends that you know are going to lie, cheat, and steal on you? Why not? If perfection doesn't exist, someone along the line probably would have to do that, right? You're seeking perfect friends. You're seeking perfect answers. You're seeking heaven. What does every religion ultimately, even in its simple way, want people to achieve? Heaven. Why? Why? Why heaven and not hell? Hell is not perfect. They want heaven. Well, if there's no perfection, then everything would have to be hell, which there are some people, unfortunately, believe. Right? Eternal hell. No such thing as heaven. No such thing as perfection, etc., etc. Do whatever you need to do in this lifetime. Just have a great life, and what happens afterward, who knows? You understand? If you think about it, our very behavior is showing to us, as you and I now are awakening consciously, to understand deep inside of us, we do feel there's perfection that we can achieve. Otherwise, why bother? Why be in this world if there's no possibility to achieve perfection? Well, if you really want to be cynical and whatever, just comes to my mind. Well, like I heard when I was in college, somebody was saying, well, this is all a game. There is a creator, at least they admitted that, but the creator just, threw earth together and made some people like people will do with ants. You ever seen little kids playing with ants? They're looking like they're playing with ants just to put the dirt in their way, move them out of the way. If they're all in a line, mess them up, things like that, like a joke. So I knew people in college that, this is just a joke. It's like for God's entertainment. Let's watch all the little ants called human beings run around like that. No, that's not it. Every person is seeking perfection. So, for those of us who have a spiritual bent, what perfection are we seeking? Ultimately, the perfection of the Creator. And if you've taken Kabbalah 1, you've learned that ultimately the only reason we're in this world is to imitate the Creator. Shine our light that the Creator gave us 24/7. Unconditionally, no matter what the physical circumstances are, just let your light shine. Because that is perfection. When the light is all there is in the world, that's perfection. Meanwhile, we're in the midst of light and darkness. The point of the center, what you and I learn here, is how to keep extending or elevating, revealing more of our soul's light to take away more and more of the darkness, revealing more and more of the perfect world that's here, and more of our perfection until there's nothing but light, heaven on earth. That's our goal. That's our purpose in this world. So you've got to start remembering there is perfection, and there's only perfection because there's a Creator. If a person, number one, if a person believes that there's no Creator, then why bother anything? Because then everything is just random, chaotic, etc. So of course you have those kind of people who think that's it. Whatever you want to call it, it's just everything is about now. Give me now, hedonistic, whatever you want, which is selfish, self-centered, self-indulgent, all that stuff, because there's nothing else. Just try and get as much as you can, as fast as you can, before the chaos hits. Then there's those of us who are more spiritually minded, who are seeking ways and means to connect to the perfect Creator. And for us, that means being perfect. Because if there's a perfect Creator, then a perfect Creator cannot create imperfection, can it? So if a perfect Creator created every human being on earth, then like you and I learn, here in the center we emphasize, every person has a part within them we call the soul that is pure and perfect light. It is a pure and perfect being of light. So those of you who are newer, who are asking the question, so how do you then make that fit with people who do horrendous things? Murder, rape, robbery, I don't know, all the terrible stuff going on in the world around us. So we learn that doesn't mean that the person doesn't have perfection within them. In fact, let's ask the question. People who do bad stuff, what are they seeking? And why do they want power and control? No, you really have to ask. Remember, consciousness is everything. To be conscious. of every moment of every day of everything we say, do, or think. Why do people do bad stuff, including you, me? Can anyone here or anyone watching say you don't have a little bit of impatience during the day, you don't have a little judgment during the day, you don't feel a little guilty during the day, anything like that? Okay, that's not godlike. So we all have it.
No,
But we're all pure and perfect beings of light. What does everybody seek? What are those people? What is a thief seeking? Let's make it simple. Maybe it'll make it easier. Why does a thief steal? What's that? Because they feel a lack of something. So then why are they stealing? To fill that lack. Which in other words means they are seeking fulfillment. They are seeking perfection. They want to have the perfect life. They see a lack, let's call it money. So then they're just going to look for money, and in the case of a thief, they're listening to the opponent in their head, and they're taking it from other people. Instead of, let's call it, earning their living, earning the money. But the person who earns the money, seeking perfection, fulfillment. The person who steals the money is seeking perfection, fulfillment. They're just doing it in opposite ways. But everybody, there's no human being on earth who's not seeking fulfillment, perfection, because we all feel inside of us the peace of the perfect Creator that exists there. The point of this world is we have free will because of the illusion of the physicality. In the endless world, there's no physicality. We all just saw pure light. We knew everything perfectly. We came into this world to manifest that perfection, to imitate the Creator. But we had to create a physical material world which would give us free will and the ability to make an effort to exert our light, our soul's light, that muscle of sharing, when the opponent telling us to take, to get. Because taking and getting are the opposite of sharing. That's what an opponent is, isn't it? Somebody who's opposing what you're trying to do. You're playing whatever basketball. So the opponent is trying to take the ball away from you, stop you from going down the court and scoring a basket. Whatever sport, etc. The opponent, in chess, what's the opponent? The opponent is trying to stop you from taking their king by taking your king. Whatever is opposition. So if we came down here to imitate and emulate, okay, the King of all kings, right? The Creator, perfect. Then the opponent is saying, get instead of share. So even a person who's, as we would call it, earning their living, they're going to work, they're putting their effort in, etc., in and of itself, does that mean they're sharing? No. They could have the consciousness. They're just trying to get in a way that won't get them in trouble. But they're still just trying to get. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're actually sharing. The thief, it's a little more clear and obvious that the thief is just trying to get. Are you following the idea? So the only thing we're here to do is fight the opponent in our head that's saying get, take, get. Guilt is taking. Anger is taking. Fear is taking. Judgment is taking. Jealousy is taking. Ego is taking. Everything we've described in the center as reactive behavior is not like the light, is not like the Creator, is a form of taking. Love, kindness, forgiveness, tolerance, generosity, humility, etc. Those are forms of sharing the light. And like we've said, for you and me, like our affirmation, our job is to do more of that today than we did yesterday, so that we reveal more of our potential, take away more of the darkness and the spiritual mud, I call it, our spiritual debt that we've created by doing the actions of taking. I mean, if you think about it, every time you use your credit card, relative to the credit card company in simple ways, what are you doing? You're taking. You're taking a 30-day loan, so to speak. Are you not? You're taking. At the end of the month, what does the credit card company do? They're collecting on your spiritual debt. You created the debt. The credit card company did not. You did. They're just collecting the debt. So like Karen said, the energy is circular. So when a person creates a debt by an act of anger, ego, insecurity, greed, guilt, shame, the universe is the collector, has to come back and collect it. But how does it collect it? An experience that wakes up the guilt, the shame, the anger, the judgment, the greed, the insecurity has to show up again. This time giving us the chance to act as sharers of greater kindness, love, compassion, like your credit card bill, right? You paid the bill last month, so you're at zero. You charged $3,000 during the month. The credit card company just comes to collect the $3,000, right? To take back, to give you the chance to pay back your debt and be back at zero. So this month in particular, like we said, is giving us the chance to pay off as much as possible, depending on our effort, of our spiritual debt. So when our collective birthday of humanity, the first 2 days of Libra, cosmic Libra, show up, we are already paid back, ideally, most of our debt, so that those 2 days with a particular Kabbalistic consciousness, technology, and the gathering of groups, whether physically in the center, those of us who are going to be in the international group in New York with Michael and Monica Berg, or those of you who will be streaming online in a collective way, in that collective energy, you have the help, right? Why do you hire a moving company? Because you by yourself, right, or maybe even you and one friend, you can't move all your stuff. The more people help, the faster the move, the easier move. Same thing, in that cosmic energy of Rosh Hashanah, the more people you're connected with, the easier it is. But like we're saying, let's not wait till that day to do the stuff we could have done now. Do now as much as you can, so on those 2 days, the things that you didn't either get to or really were so difficult for you now don't have to be existing in the next year to be dealt with. No, you can get rid of it in those 2 days. So that's always growing higher and higher and higher, evolving more and more. That's what we want to do. Okay, which means, like we've said, see the chaos? Like what this thing we did? Yeah, you first look at it, nobody denies, and if you've listened to me at all, other than today, I'm saying, nobody says, close your eyes and pretend they didn't say the bad thing. They didn't do the bad thing. Bad things aren't happening out there. Nobody says pretend it didn't exist. No, but like this, see the chaos, hold the consciousness perfection exists, then make the effort to turn it back into perfection. Because when it's perfect, it flows 100% perfectly, 100% blessings, peace, unity, love, prosperity, health, happiness, great relationships, all of that. That's the idea. That's the idea. And that's why we learn from Kabbalah 1 forward. Yes, you see the darkness? Act with light. What does that look like? You're feeling angry. Nobody says deny that you're feeling angry. Because why do you feel angry? Because sometime previous to that moment, you acted in anger, you put spiritual dirt, spiritual mud, you created a debt of anger. So you have to pay back the debt of anger by at least starting with the feeling of anger, but then shine the light, forgiveness, tolerance, compassion, forgiveness. You paid back the debt. You're feeling jealous. Somebody got your job, somebody got this, that, or the other thing, whatever it is. Pause. Start emanating the light. Gratitude. Happy that they got their good. Appreciate on a higher level the good that's in your life, that you drove here without an accident, that you're healthy, you hear, you talk, you walk, you can do all these things. Add to that appreciation. You're feeling discouraged. No. Pause. Okay, I'm feeling discouraged, but I know I have the infinite light of the Creator inside me. I have all the powers of the Creator. Act with courageousness. Face it, whatever it is, go act with courage. To go talk to that person, say that thing in a loving, kind way, whatever it is, but act courageously. Feeling the Creator doesn't love you. How many people say that? They believe in God, They try and do good, but somehow along the line they believe maybe God doesn't love them because they're not getting their blessings. So even to go to that extreme level, it's not about denying the feeling that God doesn't love you, but then it's the actions of go love what God loves. Shine the light of love on all the people around you. Shine the light of love on other people, especially. Do you think God doesn't love the thief? Metaphorically, do you think God doesn't love the murderer? God can only see perfection. The Creator can only see perfect people, a perfect world, and shines light 24/7. So again, it's not to deny those things are happening, or it didn't occur, or you don't feel what you feel. It's what do you do with it? So when you start to emanate the light of whatever the opposite, like we said, appreciation for jealousy, or humility for ego, or generosity for greed or limitation, or poverty thinking like that, that's when you reveal the perfection that the Creator gave you. And so the more we realize the Creator sees only a perfect world, sees a perfect you and me, sees all people as perfect, then that's why we are able to achieve perfection. Because the Creator created perfection. Inside of us is God's light and the vision of perfection. Like we said, even people who do bad things are seeking perfection, just not in a very effective or efficient way. They're going to unfortunately, have to get their debt collected, and it's not going to be very pleasant. So let's start today. Let's start beginning to make greater effort. One, to know that perfection already exists. Two, to begin manifesting more and more of our perfection. Let's work together in harmony and unity of consciousness, seeing the world with the eyes of our heart. The Zohar says our heart has eyes. And if you imagine that, what will the eyes of our heart see? We'll see the light in people. We'll see more perfection in ourselves, which will allow us to see more perfection in others. When we see more perfection in us and them, then we'll be able to act with greater perfection of love, of kindness, forgiveness, compassion, as we say, towards all human beings. We'll accelerate the process of manifesting the mission of our soul, which is to manifest, to create heaven on earth with love and unity and peace for all humanity. God bless. Thank you. Okay. So, for those of you who've been around, you know this is the time of our offering. It is a free will offering. Whatever you feel that you can share with the center to help us just speed up the process. Because like this, the faster we can reach out to billions of people, and I want to remind you, I was just thinking of it, I haven't mentioned it in a while. So one, you all know, the minimum ultimate mission of the center is at least to spread one of these to every pocket on earth, every person on earth, right? So if you don't have one, get one. If you have one, get something for other people that you can hand out. Give them a gift. Because the more you spread the light, the more blessed you are. The other thing I want to remind you is we also have, and I didn't look up where to find it, but if you go to Kabbalah.com, I know, and you heard, many of you contributed to it. We have a Zohar app done by the center. Maybe it's in the App Store. You can get it. It is free, and it's various teachers of the center from around the world reading the Aramaic. So you can hear the Aramaic being read, and then you can read the English on your own. But you can actually hear the Aramaic being read because, as we know, as we're going to do in a moment here, we know that the Hebrew letters, which is what Aramaic is made up of, right, are just conduits of light. They're just beacons of light. They shine the light of the Creator. So, you know, it's nice. You can have it on your phone anywhere you go while you're driving. Even you can be listening to the Aramaic being read. But I also want to remind you in that frame, and I'm not going to give you the whole story, but just trust me, the Rav and Karen always taught us the printed book is essential. Having the app, it's great. You can do it. It's easy to take wherever you go, whatever. But it's important that at least when you go home or if you travel, take it so at least you're scanning, right, a little bit from the printed book, because there is a different power in a printed book than the virtual book. Okay? But this, we've made it so in this way, I mean, 1 billion people. What stops 1 billion people from having the Zohar app on their phone? Right? If there's 1 billion phones out there, there can be 1 billion Zohar apps and people reading, hearing the Aramaic being read, besides just scanning. So I just wanted to put that out there for you. If you don't have it, I would certainly encourage you to get it. And again, the books themselves. So let's just take a moment. We bless the offering, because the offering is just, it's each of our way, one, of showing our appreciation. If you appreciate what you learn here and what the center's doing for the world. And I do want to mention again, and I'm open to hear if you have something to share about it, but in all my years in this lifetime, the only place that I know of, and that's what I'm willing to hear about other places, but the only place I know of that really 24/7 and everything that we do is to bring 8.5 billion people, the entire humanity, to peace, harmony, love, and unity, and all the blessings, right? Respectfully, but whatever, a head of religion wants the best for their religion, and let's say not being bothered by the rest of the religions. If it's a political head of a country or whatever like that, they want the best for their constituents, et cetera, et cetera. And sure, they don't want to be bothered by the rest of the world like that. But who's actually holding in mind 8.5 billion people, doesn't matter, black, white, yellow, brown, Jew, Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, men, women, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Any person, which is everybody, that has a soul, that's the consciousness of the center. Because Kabbalah, the Zohar, is only technology of the soul. It's not about a religion, it's not about a philosophy, it's not about certain groups or types of people. Everybody benefits from this, and this is why we're spreading the Zohar to anybody, everybody, all around the world. So with your support, we can speed it up, and we can end all the pain and suffering now. We don't need to, heaven forbid, 1 billion times, have to have more extreme pain and suffering to wake up. All right? So those of you online, please, I put the link there. Yeah, let me just try it again, just in case. But there's a link that you can make your contribution. Also, for those of you here, we have the chance of doing it in person. Money is a vessel, so just put your love, your gratitude, your blessing, and your light. Appreciation for what the light has given you, the talent and the ability, the protection to get to work, the talent to do your job, to have the money you have, but understanding it all comes from the Creator. And therefore, this is a way we can give back. And giving back through the projects of the center, like we said, to 8.5 billion hearts and souls, to awaken more of the perfection the Creator implanted in each and every person, so that more of that perfection becomes manifest, that more people who don't believe or realize they have perfection within them begin waking up to that perfection, begin expressing more and more of that perfection. And so by putting our love and our blessing to remove pain and suffering from 8.5 billion people, as we read from Karen in Simple Light, the light energy is circular. And so as we put out into the world this light, the light of the Zohar, the wisdom of Kabbalah, we know that through the circular effort of the universe, it will bring us back greater love and peace, protection, prosperity, health, all the blessings of the Creator. And together we say, Amen. And so now, those of you here, you can see on the screen. Those of you online with us, let's get here. This is Aleph Chaf Aleph. It's one of the 72 names of God. How we say it here. You can call it, it's the energy of the DNA of the soul, and or restoring things back to its perfection, because that is the DNA of our soul. For those of you unfamiliar, yes, they're Hebrew letters, but the Hebrew letters just shine the light of the Creator. They're like the primordial DNA of God that's implanted in each of us. So just looking at it, Aleph, Kaf, Aleph, shining the light of the Creator in this combination, helping us to reawaken the sleeping part of our soul's DNA, that perfection, that it blesses our life, and through our sharing blesses the world. So just let the shapes be engraved in your mind's eye. Aleph, Chaf, Aleph. Because the eyes being windows to the soul, the light that shines from these 3 nanoparticles of light reach our soul and activate that sleeping, hibernating part, intensifying the light that we share everywhere we go and everything we do. Aleph, Chaf, Aleph. So, sitting comfortably in your chair, hands on your lap, taking a few deep breaths, breathing in through the nose, hold the breath for a moment, exhale through the mouth. Focusing on the breath, which channeling not only the physical air of life, but also the spiritual light that is contained in the air and in every breath we take, the true breath of life. And allowing yourself to relax into the seat, relax into the feeling of being embraced, enveloped in the light of unconditional love of the Creator. Allowing yourself to be more conscious of the light in and around you. Allowing whatever tension, stress, limitations to be let go of with every exhale. Relaxing into the comfort of this unconditional love of the Creator. Allow yourself to feel that unconditional love in spite of any negative action you've done. Knowing the Creator is shining its light on you 24/7. And now let's envision the Aleph, Chaf, Aleph just above your head. See a beam of light from the endless world shining down and channeling through these 3 nanoparticles of light. Aleph, Chaf, Aleph. Shining with unconditional love that is the light of the Creator, emanating the vibration of the DNA of our soul, the perfection that is truly who we are, our piece of the Creator. And let's allow the Aleph, Chaf, Aleph to enter through the top of our head, shining and radiating this energy, vibration, the light of the perfection that's implanted inside of us, the perfection that exists inside. And as it passes from head to toe, illuminating the darkness that disappears instantly when confronted with the light, that you can feel, sense the perfection within you, seeing it in new ways, accepting it more wholeheartedly. I am, you are, all human beings are pure and perfect beings of light. As this energy, Aleph, Chaf, Aleph, circulates through your being, feeling more of that perfection, seeing, experiencing more of the perfection within you, allowing that perfection, the voice of your soul, to share with you what you need to know, the guidance you need to have, the support of the greater sharing actions that you are going to do to manifest more of your blessings, shining more of the light into the world, removing more darkness. And let's take the Aleph, Chaf, Aleph and focus on the energy of this Aleph, Chaf, Aleph combination in our heart. Feeling the love of the Creator for us. As it shines 24/7 on us. This light, this source of lasting, eternal fulfillment, clarity and guidance. And let's take a beam of light from our heart with the Aleph, Chaf, Aleph and beam it out to the heart and soul of all our friends and family, activating the Aleph, Chaf, Aleph, perfection within them, that they become more aware and make use of the perfection, the perfect light in them, and extending it out from them to all humanity, extending this energy, Aleph, Chaf, Aleph, to the heart and soul of all humanity. Feeling on a higher level the oneness, on a soul level of all human beings. The one soul the Creator created. Feeling that awakening that's happening in us and all humanity in the world. Emanating from our heart, greater unconditional love, that light that takes away darkness instantaneously, the darkness of divisiveness, separation, discord. The light that brings peace, unity, harmony, love, oneness. Let's hold the vision of peace on earth, the world enveloped only in light. All human beings acting only with love, kindness, compassion towards each other. Take note of this feeling of greater peace, greater certainty in the power of the light. A greater trusting in the light and your ability to channel that light into the world. Implant this new awareness in your heart, soul, and mind, that it also becomes more impactful in the heart, soul, and mind of all humanity. And together we take one more deep breath to anchor it in, stays with us forever, and slowly exhale and open your eyes. I do want to remind you, a couple weeks ago we did the class on reincarnation, and a number of people have responded. They're interested in the past life exploration sessions that I offered. So if you're interested, please, you can write me on Facebook or I guess email me here at the center if you're interested to find out and take advantage of that. So God bless those of you online out there. Have an amazing day, evening, and a great week. And most importantly, just God bless us all.
Thank you for joining us. If you liked what you saw, subscribe to this channel that you'll be notified when we post new videos. Share the video with your friends, they can also benefit. And check out the website, www.kabbalah.com, that's Kabbalah, for hundreds of articles and classes. Wish you an amazing day, and God bless.